This is Jingai's Kitchen and More. So for today's cooking video, we will be making my famous chicken adobo. Okay, everybody loves it, but this type of adobo, I will not be using soy sauce. I've always been taught when I was young, use fish sauce. It's a Kapampangan way of cooking our adobo. And so for today's ingredients, we will be using some garlic, some onions, also bay leaf or laurel for my famous magic sarap, and of course chicken. I use about 2 pounds of chicken, or that's about 8 drumsticks. I also like it cooking it with chicken wings, but this is what I have in the refrigerator right now. And then vinegar, and again the famous fish sauce. I don't have the regular fish sauce that I usually use, which is the Rofina or the Lawrence Patties. So we'll use what we have in our kitchen basically. Okay, so let's get started. So when I cook, I don't usually measure. I usually just eyeball it. But for some of you who likes to measure, basically what I do for the adobo, I usually put about 4 squeeze of the vinegar. Okay, so if I am to measure it, it looks like it's about 1 cup. Okay, so if you don't have a measuring cup, you can eyeball it. So by doing so 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you look at it, so this is about 1 cup of vinegar. Okay. Let me give you some pointers on how to enhance the ingredients that you will be using whenever you cook, especially for garlic. One of my girls asked me, "Mom, how come it doesn't taste like how you cook it?" So the trick I know is to use your ingredients really well. Okay, so when I tell them, okay, use some garlic or chop some garlic, so sometimes what they'll do is, for some people, what they'll do is it's just chopped, right? Well, of course, because I said chop. Okay, but it's to enhance the flavor. You want to mince it too. Okay, that way you the flavor of the garlic will explode into your dish. Okay, then it would be a lot more flavorful, tastes really well, and after I do that, I still chop it some more. Okay, again, that's using the full flavor of your garlic compared to, look at the difference, compared to if you just chopped garlic. So imagine if you use this versus that, this would be a lot more flavorful. Okay, so that's one trick. And another helpful tip is to have a bowl next to you when you're preparing your ingredients. Okay, then it would be easy to clean up after. Okay, then that way your kitchen is not messy. My husband sometimes tend to complain when I cook because he said, "Oh, you need to cook and clean as you go." Okay, so then that way whoever's cleaning won't get mad at you. Then it'll be any of your trash would be just placed in a bowl, and then when you're done, you just toss it in the garbage. Right? Another helpful tip is to pound all your garlic first before you start peeling them off. Then that way it can be systematic in a sense. Okay. I also have a mortar and pestle, so this is also a great way to use. So, but if you don't have this, this is the easy way to do it by just doing it with your cupboard, with your cutting board. I mean. So what you do after you pound, then they're easier to peel. Okay. instead of, you know, just peeling them one by one before you pound them. It's a lot more harder that way. And once you have it all peeled, you just chop all the garlic that you need. Okay. And as you can see, they're bigger pieces, right? But we want to mince it. Some people put a little bit salt. Just kind of makes it, the mincing part, really easy, or it kind of puts it kind of makes it liquidy actually, which I don't like it that way, but just press them down really good. So you basically put your knife parallel to your cutting board and just press. Okay, once you do that, you just chop. Once again, and then again, that will be it. So when it comes to onions, I don't like to put a lot of onions whenever I cook. They said it tends to spoil the food right away. So I only put half of the onion, especially if it's this big. Of course, if it's small, then use it all. But some stores only have them in big. So I usually just cut my onion in half, and then I store it right away. The other half I store right away, okay? So I just put it in a Ziploc and refrigerate it, and then that way the next time I cook, then the other half would be ready, okay? So one thing too is never leave onion out in the open air that it's cut for a long period of time. So again, please Ziploc it right away and store it in the refrigerator. Never put a raw onion in the refrigerator uncovered. So make sure either put it in a saran wrap or put it in the Ziploc before storing it back in the refrigerator, okay? Because it will gather all the bacteria that's out there, okay? So that's one trick, and hopefully all these helpful cooking tips help. Thank you. Okay, let's get started. So what we need to do is put all your ingredients in one pot, basically. So we start with the chicken first. This is me without even turning on the stove, okay? So we combine all our ingredients. And then we'll put our bay leaf, our onions, and only about, say, half of your garlic, okay? Because we'll fry or we'll brown some garlic later on. And then, as I've mentioned in the past, I don't usually measure. So in terms of any liquid ingredients that I put. So with this one, the way I do it is I put 1, 2, 3, 4. So I eyeball it. I'll have a insert later on just to show you a trick, but that's usually equal to about 1 cup of vinegar, okay? And I'm gonna turn on my stove now. Okay, we'll let it boil, and then I'm going to add the fish sauce too. So this is usually about 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it's basically 3:4. Okay, we'll let it boil. This is what in Kapampangan they call it sangkucha or singkucha, one of the two. Okay, so I don't stir it, I just let it boil, That way I would let my meat absorb all the flavor all the ingredients that I put in there. Okay, so we'll let it boil, and when it's not, say, bleeding anymore, or after it boils for about say 10-15 minutes, that's when I add my water. Okay, and with the Kapampangan, we double cook most of our dishes, so later on we'll fry the chicken. Okay, but let's let it boil for now, and we'll be back. Also, one thing I've been told, whenever you cook dishes with vinegar, is not to stir while you cook. Once you put your vinegar, you want the acidity to come out first before you stir the rest of your ingredients. Okay, because otherwise it would taste raw. Okay, and I've tried that before, and yes, it does taste raw. Okay, so again, we'll let it boil for about 10-15 minutes. Okay, and before we put our water, and when I put my water, again, I always pre-boil my water, so then that way it doesn't have like a resting time where it would just continuously boil, basically. And because whenever you have that resting or waiting time to make your mixture boil, what you're doing is you're letting your chicken bleed again. Okay, and which you don't want to do. So after 10 minutes, we're gonna add our boiling water. Okay, so just put as much, not as much, but just to cover all the chicken, and we'll let it boil again until the chicken is tender. Okay, so some people might say, oh, this is similar as to the adobong puti is what they call it, but I don't think it is, because we did use fish sauce instead. The adobong puti, I believe they use salt instead. So we'll just let it boil until our chicken is tender. So once that's done, we'll pan fry our chicken, and we'll add the sauce back later. Okay, so we'll let it boil for now. So again, the amount of water is just enough to cover all your chicken, basically. Okay, so this is again about 10 minutes into boiling, and when you're cooking, you will see this brown bubbles, and you want to take that out. Okay, they said that's more like the stuff that you get when the meat bleeds, so I like to take that out. And then now is also the time to taste your dish. Then we can add also some of what you need, basically. Some people don't taste their dish, and I don't know why, but in order for it to taste good, you want to taste it first, so then that way you know what's missing, what's lacking, and all that. Okay, and so let's see how it tastes. So whenever you taste your food, you don't taste it from your ladle. So you want to get a few, put it in a teaspoon, and taste it this way. So I'm gonna add a little bit more of the fish sauce. Okay, I know later on I'm gonna add the magic setup, but for now, it's about 1 spoon per 1 scoop of these. Okay. So with adobo, you can use or cook it in different ways. So again, with this, we're using fish sauce. Some use soy sauce. Okay, that's pretty good already. So then some also just use vinegar and salt. So, but with the Kapampangan, I know they use, which is not Kapampangan from Tarlac. The one from Tarlac, I think they use soy sauce there. But where I came from, which is Pampanga, my mom taught me how to cook it with fish sauce. I think she was taught by her mom, which is from the Spaniards' time too. So it's how my grandma got taught. So I think, okay, so don't get me wrong. So it should look like this. So it's where your meat's starting to fall apart already. I wouldn't say all the way fall apart, but this should be good already, okay? So I'm gonna turn off the stove. And then we're gonna prepare to pan fry the chicken. So we need to remove the chicken from the sauce, basically, because we are going to pan fry it first. So the reason why I'm doing this, because I don't want a lot of splattering when we pan fry the chicken, because that will happen, okay? So I like to use this it's almost like slitted, whatever you call it. You can try to get like the onions too, and you can fry those too. With your saute pan, you need to add some oil, okay? And before the oil gets too hot, we'll put the chicken. Again, before it gets too hot, we'll put the chicken. And that way it minimizes the splattering. Once I have all my chicken in there, I turn it up high. And again, you can put your onions there, so it will fry on too. This will make the adobo have its color, okay? And make it a little bit light brown. So we'll brown our chicken first. If it starts to splatter, you can cover it, but if it doesn't, you'll leave it out uncovered, okay? But I know it will start to splatter because I turned the stove up high, so it starts to brown, okay? So when I cover it, I just cover it halfway, because sometimes when you're frying something and you cover it, it's not as crispy. So once it starts to turn brown, turn down the heat before you turn them, okay? Because otherwise you will get that big splatter in your face, and which you don't want. Like that. So now cover it halfway again. Oops. And turn up the heat. By the way, I was doing a research. This is called a slotted spoon, I guess. And I guess this is called the big spoon. And we'll turn it one last time, which is for the other side. Okay, so it's about 3 times for the drumsticks, basically. Okay. So they should look like that. We'll turn it up high again, and after that we lessen the oil and we add the garlic before they get done. So now that we've finished browning our chicken, I just need to lessen the oil because we don't want all this oil in our mixture, okay, or on our sauce. While I'm doing this, the heat is on very low, okay? So I'm going to brown some garlic, okay? So you probably just need about that much oil, okay? Just enough to brown the garlic. Now, we add the garlic in there, okay? And turn it like medium high. So, and we just need to brown our garlic here for a sec. Some people take out the chicken while they're letting the garlic brown, okay? But I don't. So I just kind of let it cook there with the chicken, okay? Once your garlic is brown, we add the sauce, okay? And we taste it once again, because that's when we add our magic sarap. Smells so good. Okay, so this, again, I like this color because this is what's going to make our sauce not pale, okay? And it gives that adobo color. And it's gonna be really good. I just keep tossing it, okay? So it's the garlic's starting to turn brown. You don't want it like too dark. Now we add the sauce. And just let it boil. And then we add our magic sarap. If you don't like it saucy like this, don't add all your sauce, okay? But I like it like this because it's good to mix it with the rice the day after. What's a good pair for this when we eat it? We like to eat adobo, this kind of adobo with tomatoes and patis. I don't know if you guys have tried that, but try it with that. It's so good. Okay, all right. So we just let it boil like this, and it should be all done. All right. So, and we just turn off our stove, and now that's it. Okay, guys. Here it is. Let's eat. Again, thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Jingai's Kitchen and more. Alright, bye-bye.